There's such pressure to speak. Oh my goodness. Oh, the greening. This is an important notion. The greening is serpentine in nature. These greening forces, and this is what we must connect with. Please pardon the suddenness of our appearance. This one has been, we have been knocking, as it were. There is much to say. The greening of your planet. This is an important piece of stewardship that you must engage with on a more fun. You must engage playfully with confidence and effort in the greening of your planet. This greening, as you have been learning in this group, is absolutely connected with your hearts, with the interconnectivity of us and you and all that is.
Maybe know to whom we speak?
This is Colum, as you have deemed.
Yes. Can you tell us more about what we can do to green the planet?
This greening starts within. So many of your inhabitants seem to feel that these are task-based operations, which they are. However, that is the result. That is not the beginning. That is not the departure. The beginning for the greening happens within you, the heart space, the vibrations, the connectivity, the opening,
Hmm.
the opening. And this entails a measure of security that you are engaged in a, shall we say, war
Hmm.
with levels of security. The efforts are cascading through systems in ways that are overwhelming for your bodies, your energy bodies at this point. And we advise first to get a grip on the interiority of your spaces. For that greening of the interiority is no different from the greening of the exterior. They are one and the same.
If I might ask a very specific question here, I think I might speak for others, but I'm quite exhausted.
Mm,
Might be that the energy shifts of this planet are preventing me from sleeping, but
mm,
I feel like all of us sitting here are suffering a little bit from these changes with physical and
mm,
psychological distractions. Can
mm.
you tell me if, or tell us if this is, if something is going on here just generally, and what we can do to be greener, if you will?
Yes, yes. We see this as cascading. There are cascading forces. Mm, from our perspective, there are, let me see, we must step into time to explain that events which you perceive as future are happening concurrently, and the ripples, if you will, the evolutionary direction for all of us are a part of evolution. There is no exception to this growing consciousness. The movements of evolution are continuous, they are infinite, And the repercussions of this procedure is cascading down through energy levels. And as such, you will encounter that on your planet as you are now. These cascading forces can be perceived as stimulation. They can be perceived as anxiety ridden. They can be perceived as change. There are as many beings on your planet as there are perceptions
Hmm.
of these cascading forces. Perhaps the most useful point of reference is to not fear death. Perhaps the best place for you is to start there. Do not fear death. Do not fear earth. Because death and earth, from our perspective, are the path that you occupy. This is your vision. Each one of you has chosen to, shall we say, grapple with this interface of earth and death, for you come to earth in order to die. So this greening, if you will, the verdure, the this is the luxuriousness of your path on earth. So perhaps fear of death is one large approach. A smaller approach may be to honor grass, a bud, a plant. When you look around you, you see that growth is unbounded. Rest in that optimism. You call it optimism, which makes it sound to us as a subjective state,
Hmm.
which it is not. It is the way. This is how evolution is based on what you might call a degree of optimism. But it
Hmm.
is a fact,
Hmm.
it is a law of nature. Rest there.
Can you articulate again this law of nature?
This continual unfolding. You have instances of this when you witness flowers blooming. You have instantiated this notion in the lotus, in spiritual traditions, for a reason. You are intuiting once you turn inward and acknowledge your own innate wisdom, your own connection onto evolution, the volition, the
Hmm.
wish, the daimon, the esprit de corps. This is the motivation for all life, for all growth, is an unfolding, a moving forward, if you will. From our perspective, the movement is manifold. It is not simply forward. But for our purposes in talking with you now, we shall emphasize the forward nature, as this gives you a way out, a way out. You may perceive it in that way. There is no harm. Observe, observe,
Hmm.
observe the world around you, observe the world within you. This is the basis of what you call your science.
Hmm.
This is observation, service. You serve yourselves and others through observation.
Just want to ask,
Yeah.
just again, using a personal example, just to see if we can, use that as an example for many things.
Mm,
I'm completely exhausted, I'm having difficulty sleeping, etc. Is there something that I should do to alleviate the situation? And is there some way all of us might cure it? That is, we might be exhausted or sick or something. Is there anything that, this is the second part of the question, anything we might do to have a sort of an immediate or a cure, if you will?
We shall say, first and foremost, take off your cloak. Take
Hmm.
off your cloak. There are two sides to this. One is one is the cloak of the super being. Yes? These mantles, these gowns, these
Hmm.
attires, the dress. We all, you all, this one as well, wears certain dress. There may be actual dress, there may be figurative dress. It may be helpful for you to work with a conscious awareness of the spaces that you move into to be of service, whether that is for yourself or another.
Hmm.
Do not be unconscious, for that squanders, not always. The adepts are not in this realm. However, in the beginnings, it is important to be aware of your dress, how you address
Hmm.
yourself, how you address others. So, for example, rest, addressed, dress, rest, to undress
Hmm.
for rest.
Hmm.
This is not merely a function of material reality, of, you say, fabric. There are levels at which fabrics shall be released, undone, changed. Use your mind, use your heart mind to take off your armor at some point. There are ways for you to create spaces in your home. All of us here are blessed with a home. There are ways in which to feather your nest. The contours of your nest are important. There should be no edges with which to harm your restful self. It is important for you to find spaces for rest. The place to begin is outside. This is efficient. This is visible. There's tangible, empirical data which you can use. Take your time with this. You may look at catalogs if that is a pleasure, magazines, internet, fish for your feathers.
Hmm.
Dive down deep to find what it is that brings you respite, joy, and love. This is a wholly human endeavor, this active conscious use. For us, this is not something we must discuss.
Hmm.
And this is why you are here. So find these places for rest. This is important. There are modalities of intake, liquids, foods. There are tactile senses, silk, cotton. There are scents, botanicals, cinnamon, orange. There are so many sensory inputs for you to explore. That is taking off the cloak. There is another sense of cloaking as hiding. Take off your Superman, you say cape. We say cloak. The cloak. Find a place where it is unnecessary to hide. Find that place where you reveal yourself and you revel in self. There is laughter, humor, ruefulness. Perhaps something has happened and there is a higher vantage for you to review with love on your learning journey. And you can laugh in a sort of wonderful, complicit love of your nature. Does this make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Sensing. This is an important aspect of your incarnation. Sensing. The
Hmm.
five senses, the six senses. You have traveled far.
I hope anyone go ahead and ask questions. I feel like I'm taking all the airtime.
No, you are to be lauded. These are beautiful questions.
Hmm.
Very intimate, if you will, close to the heart.
I have a question that was inspired from last week's discussion, and it relates to the process of channeling. Now, I have an understanding, and it may be an incorrect understanding, but my understanding during the channeling process, more information is being delivered than the words.
Yes, we have been communing with this one. This is the pressure. Did you notice at the beginning of this, she felt this pressure to speak? There is
Yes.
there is for us, there is this to say this energies experienced as pressure. There are manifold ways in which to experience energy, and this relates to what we were discussing before with Dave. There, you may be experiencing energy as anxiety, as happiness, as anticipation, a sort of nervousness and anticipation. And that nervousness could be experienced in so many different ways depending on the reaction to that energy. That is the key there. Energy and reaction.
Hmm.
Action, reaction. Yes?
Yes. Hmm.
And as that energy for this one, it takes time for cultivation. You, your vessels, you are all experiencing energy. And the step toward the lift, if you will, the shift, if you will, the opening onto channeling is to become comfortable. Power, comfort, to be with the power of that energy without, we shall say, overreacting. In other words, like a battery, if you put a block between the positive and the negative nodes, the energy will cease, that energy. And so the channeler, the host, if you will, this one has stepped back And this is tied into what we said earlier about observing, serving. You are serving this source energy, this force, source, however you words wrap your minds around this. There's no need. However, for the purposes of our conversation, we are simply asking in this moment for her to step back, not grasp, not even abstain. It's not even that. It is simply a presencing. There is a modality of generosity, yes, yes, which enters in. And this one has always felt this energy and has not known what to do with it, if you will. It has led her in so many directions. We are grateful that she has come home to sit, for this has opened a clearing. But she has had to clarify for herself before we shall ever.
When you are communicating through B, do you give her words or do you give her concepts that
No,
she then reaches?
no, what we
Okay.
do is we are energy, we are light energy. That is who we are. This is why Colum is an apt term. Light is energy. She grappled with this as this was an unknown thought for her. We enter into, through her space, if you will, her physical space, and she feels energy. She feels energy. And we then interface with her, shall you say, memory banks,
Mm-hmm.
and we enter into and pull the files that she has experienced in your world. There are many, many worlds, but the world here, she has had her experiences, and we can then draw on her files, if you will, to articulate and activate our energy in reasonable, visible for this conversation.
Okay. So you are able to communicate within the bounds of B's
Knowledge.
experience
Yes.
and knowledge.
Yes. And this is why it is important for all of you, if you are so inclined, the preparatory, and this can happen over lifetimes on different planets, in different dimensions. There is always progress, as you call it, the changing movements and transformations. It is simply that this space, with your help, your world is so unaccustomed to this form. There have been centuries and millennia of fear, torture, death, all associated with this happening. There is much, much that must be clarified within, and for her as well. We have been listening, guiding, drawing memories. She herself, we shall share. Yes, it's yes. when she was in her earliest school, the claim of witch. This is a painful, painful, painful memory for her, which we gently carry towards light and love. So you see, this is not an easy process.
Can you tell us more about the process? Is it is it that over lifetimes we're learning to receive?
Not necessarily. I see lifetimes of understanding. There is, on one level, a gathering of knowledge, which is fairly mechanical in nature. But there is also a level of inspiration. And we say inspiration in the sense of breathing through difficulties. And in that breathing, there is a settling which allows these terrestrial human forms to see through the density of forms, not through perhaps, but beyond. In your world, this is difficult to traject, for you have so many directions. The cathetic forces come from center space. That is enough for you to know. It is a practice.
Do the experiences that we have, are they created for us to learn, or is it sort of a random set of experiences that we have?
Ah, yes, the age old. When this is something to bear in mind, whenever your minds create you say bifurcation, whenever
Mm-hmm.
you create that either or, this is something this one learned long ago, the efforts to create that are not perhaps useful. Creating the bifurcation of an either or is perhaps a necessary step, but do not rest in that. It is important to move beyond that polarity to the third fusion. Call it the Holy Ghost, call it the middle way, call it what you will, but do not get stuck. This is a important notice to notice that freeze, that stuckness will create anxiety with no rest. That is perhaps what you may be experiencing from our former conversation. This bifurcation is a function of your thought. And it is necessary. It is not bad, as you would say. It is a form of stereotyping. This is negative, this is positive. And there is need for categories at the initial stages. However, you must continue. And that leap from the empirical to that third thing, that third transformation, that third move comes with heart. You say a leap of the imagination. That image, that image must come from somewhere. That image comes from the heart.
Wow.
That is the guide that moves through this gauntlet.
So it's almost like positive thinking, or as Joe Dispenza would say, just get out of the river and go into a new one, or a third way, if you will.
There you will. There you will. A third way, yes. I mean, there are many, many ways to image this. However, the most important notion to begin with is the awareness of where you are in your consciousness. So, for example, if you are stuck in positivity, that will wear out. If you are stuck in negativity, that will wear out. If you are stuck in this bing bang, she calls it, bing bang, between these two, there is a measure of entrapment that can formulate through this polarized energy. You must give this energy a direction, a purpose, you say. Your purpose is your path. There is this triangular form. Can you imagine that form? The line from the apex to the base, that is your purpose. It bifurcates into the triangles, and it is in the pyramid. This is how we connected with her. And remember the base. We talked about this last time. The base, the square, your earth, your nature, your nurture, your nurturing of that nature, begin there. Nurturing your nature. Understand it. Therein lies your path.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
She's tired, yes. She's
Did you
tired.
say that you are tired? B is tired?
Yes, yes, she is. We're giving her her space to feel.
Can
And she is tired.
should we end the transmissions fairly soon?
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps we could just ask that. I think all of us are feeling the shift or changes. I wonder if we could ask that we receive some
Oh,
healing energy from spirit.
yes.
We don't want to
Beautiful.
tax E though.
That is a beautiful, beautiful request. We honor that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lift. We hope that you encounter this as what you call a lift. And so it shall be.
Thank you, spirit.
Thank you.
And thank you, B.
Okay.